Bag, I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and the producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of our presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. What's going on? What's going on? What is growing on? Welcome back to B1AG. I'm John Henry Harris. We also have Farmer Brown, the MC. Here at B1AG, we focus on Black agricultural production, economics, health, food, nutrition, all for the Black family and for the Black community. Now, I always ask what's growing on. Hopefully what's growing on is some produce in your yard. Hopefully what's growing on is some fruits and vegetables on your porch, on your balcony. Hopefully what's growing on is your awareness of the food system that we all participate in and how we can make sure that we're more food secure. Today, we're going to talk about these federal mandates that our President Joe Biden just announced on Thursday. On Thursday, President Biden announced the most sweeping vaccine requirements yet. And these mandates will affect roughly 100 million Americans. The new measures include a vaccine mandate for all federal workers and contractors and a requirement that large companies must mandate vaccines or regular testing for employees. Now, what does this mean for you and I? For a lot of Americans, they're going to have to make a hard choice. What do I take this experimental vaccine, or do I leave my job, my place of employment? And here at B1AG, we like to focus on solutions, but also focus on the fact that we all need to be food secure. So today's show, we're talking about medicines for the mandate. B1AG, we do have solutions. Do you want to go straight into the video, Farmer Brown? All right, first we're going to go straight into the video just with Joe Biden explaining these new mandates.
With COVID cases surging and deaths now 5 times higher than just a month ago, President Biden is requiring tens of millions more Americans to get vaccinated.
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. This is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you.
The president is ordering nearly all federal workers and employees of contractors that do business with the federal government get vaccinated within 75 days, eliminating their option to be tested instead of getting shots. Employees who refuse could be punished, even fired.
If you want to work with the federal government and do business with us, get vaccinated.
While initially reluctant to issue mandates, the president's aggressive new plan requires vaccinations for 17 million healthcare workers at hospitals and other sites that receive Medicare or Medicaid funding. President Biden's now pressuring private companies too, directing the Labor Department to require businesses with 100 or more employees ensure their workers are fully vaccinated or provide a negative test each week, a move the White House estimates will impact 80 million Americans. Companies that do not comply could face fines. The White House anticipating lawsuits.
We're going to protect vaccinated workers from unvaccinated coworkers.
All of it as approval of the president's handling of the virus has dropped since he expressed confidence about the pandemic 2 months ago.
Today, we're closer than ever to declaring our independence from a deadly virus.
The president tonight.
We're in the tough stretch, and it could last for a while.
And the TSA is doubling fines for airline passengers who refuse to mask up.
If you break the rules, be prepared to pay. And by the way, show some respect.
And Peter, the White House wants to make at-home testing more widely available. How do they plan to do it?
Yeah, Lester, that's right. President Biden tonight announcing the federal government is teaming up with Walmart, Amazon, and Kroger to sell at-home rapid tests at a cheaper price beginning this week.
Thanks for watching.
So, Farmer Brown, let's go ahead and jump straight into it, bro.
He says, put some respect on the game. First, I'd just like to say peace to the B1 family. I hope everybody's doing well. This is a great time right now. I think anybody that's been in the dark or, kind of confused about what's going on, I think this was laid out Thursday. Here at B1AG, we like to talk about solutions. I will say, not to digress from the topic, okay, we're going to have a peaceful withdrawal from Afghanistan. The Taliban is taking over. The Taliban has U.S. weapons, right? As we talk about the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Protect my body, my rights. This was what was going on in Texas, but then we see this a few days later where this ain't about freedom. This isn't about none of that. This is about get them Smurfberries. So saying that to say, we want to look at what can we do. I saw one of the options. I think a lot of people are falling into the disparity of, oh my gosh, if I don't get this, then I don't have an option. But one of the options were you can test yourself. But I will say real quick before we get into this conversation today. So George Soros and Bill Gates backed consortium to buy the UK's biggest testing company. So saying that to say, one of the people who are heavily vested in the medicine have also heavily invested in the testing companies. So you can take that or leave it. I will make a personal plea to those. Like I said here at B1AG, we're not here to give any sort of medical advice or any sort of counsel as far as the decisions we need to make within our households. But what looks to be happening is this dichotomy between the VED versus the unVED. And so I think the days of pleading to a federal government that since the 1860s hasn't provided reparative justice to those that, were exploited in the building of this country. I think every minute, every second we waste asking for this consideration is a minute wasted not working on our own solutions. When we think about the farmers, this is what we talk about. This is who we like to uplift here at B1AG. They haven't gotten any help. There was $4 billion proposed earlier this year to give minority farmers of color debt relief. To this day, they've received zero. But then this same person telling everybody in the country, if you don't get this, even though I want to keep you healthy, I'm willing to make you lose your job if you don't do this. And so you got to wonder, okay, the purpose of working a job is to earn money to feed your families, take care of your responsibilities. And so I think what's understood don't need to be explained, but we do have medicine for the mandate. Dr. Claude Anderson and Dr. Boyce discussed this the other day in detail. And so this is when we think about federal workers, more than 20% of federal workers are the melanated family. And so this is definitely going to affect us when you're thinking about the post office, when you're thinking about the few that have been able to get government contracts, when you're thinking about teachers, anybody that's getting bread, in concert with the federal government or even state government. This falls on me, so I'm not an outlier looking in. So I work for a state institution, so this definitely affects me. And I will say this didn't take me by surprise. When he first said, and see, this is how you can pick some things up. He said a few months ago, oh, no, I'm not going to use my position to mandate anything. What do we see fast forward? I'm mandating. And so it's almost this 1984 George Orwell doublespeak. Whatever you hear them say I'm not going to do, you can almost plan like clockwork is going to be done. But here at B1AG, we do have solutions. Real quick, we want to show you some of what we have going on, and I'll go into detail of some of the efforts we have going on and what we can do about it.
Yes, and please like, share, and subscribe to the B1AG Daily Bread podcast on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. It helps grow the channel. It will help us get this conversation more involved. We need more of our people talking about this stuff. We talk about things that are in popular culture that make them go viral. We need to make this conversation about what's going on with our food system and what's going on in our world viral. We need to have more conversations like this more at the forefront. Now, again, going back to these solutions that we have for you, we definitely have some very practical solutions, and these are solutions. We're not trying to recreate the wheel, y'all. These are solutions that started civilization. This is what maintained humans since the beginning of time, and that is the ability to grow food, the ability to feed your people, feed your village, feed your family.
Check it up. I'm a young boss. And I'm back with the flow. Give me a few seconds, I'ma teach you how to grow. Turn a few seeds to a bucket full of dough. Working on a farm is a real way to go. I got my fruits and veggies planted in the ground. I'm on a C and Mr. John from a Brown. Whooping up a healthy snack is going down. They rolled up cause we got peas by the pound. I got my romaine lettuce with the berries. I got my cows working on a dairy. I got the snack coming up, no worries. Yo, we even got the chicken with the curry. 3 things about farming that I know. If you water it, it's sure to grow. All races are consumers that I know. Stay determined and you're bound to blow.
Grow money, we work hard. Stack it up, I'm a young boss. Grow money, we work hard. Stack it up, I'm a young boss.
Now, this kind of educational programming, agricultural educational programming, Farmer Brown and I have been doing this for years. We have literally touched thousands and thousands of students, got their prints in the mud, got their hands dirty. They've learned how to grow food, and the response has always been great. And this has been from kids all over the southeastern United States. I mean, the kids, I know they're all attached to their digital devices, but what we like to do is get them out in nature, show them the survival skill of growing food, but we're also integrating the digital space and using that digital space that they're so attached to also promote growing food and also and how to really start their own business through agricultural endeavors.
So first piece, and so tapping on to what Bruce said, we've been working on this almost 10 years now. I did my research at Kentucky State University in the state of Kentucky on, is it possible to use hip hop, audio, and visual productions to teach kids in urban areas about agriculture. Research has gone well. My original goal was to reach 300 students. Like Bruce said, we're easily closer to 15,000 than 10,000 students we've been able to connect with. All of this happened, before COVID, before this distant learning. It was very evident that the way that we learn about just agriculture and food production and education in general was going to change. And so 2020 hit us. We found a lot of our children at home learning. A lot of parents were, we're now suddenly having to be our children's educators, which is how it was before we had a public school system. But saying that to say, right now, when we think about agriculture, we know 1.4%, this is 44,000 out of 3.5 million farmers are melanated or classified as African-American in North America. 1.4%, only 44,000. And so we have a goal in the next 10 years to increase that 1.4% to 5%. Also, when we think about academics, and so there is academic paths which are very legitimate. When we think about HBCUs, a lot of times we think about band, we think about the parties. But the 1890s land grants were designed, and a lot of the funding comes in through agriculture. I know this because I'm an extension agent that graduated from one and works at one. And there are a lot of resources that go unused when we think about academics. And so right now, out of 39,000 students that graduate with the agricultural degree, only 1,200, not 12,000, but only 1,200 out of 39,000 are melanated students. So our goal over the next 5 years is to double that to at least 2,400 students. And this is being conservative. Our goal, I feel like when melanated minds put our minds to something, when we decide that something is valuable within our community, we can achieve these goals. And so one way of achieving that, we have an initiative, 250,000 third through fifth graders. We want to introduce them to the Farmer Brown the MC Grow Kit and run them through the Young Bosses Ag program. If you could pull the visual up real quick. And, you know, we're in a situation now, we need all hands on deck. There's no such thing as one magic bullet that's going to address everything. But if we're going to address our food security, when we think about jobs, you know, the security of just, okay, yeah, I'm going to get me this cushy state or government job and I'll be fine. Thursday, we were warned that you got 75 days to figure out something on your own or catch the axe. And so with this Grow Kit, and like I said, this is something that you can come to us directly for. Reach out to us at b1aghiphop@gmail.com. And with this Grow Kit, it includes peat moss seeding pods. It includes a clay pot, biodegradable seed cups, hand tools, a 2-gallon bucket, landscape fabric, laundry basket, and seeds. We also include interactive learning modules. You know, we know these kids like their devices, and so these are interactive learning modules, activity book with different crossword puzzles and coloring books, and then actual demo videos. One of the things I understood through my research is seeing is believing. It's one thing I want to get you into farming, but the only images you see of somebody farming, doesn't look like you. The first time I saw farming, for example, it was in a social studies book, and it was slavery. It was literally a picture of, melanated people out in the field slaving. And so that's a horrible way to promote something. And so it's my contention that we, just like we can promote hip hop, just like we can promote all of these other brands and lifestyles using hip hop, we can do the same thing with agriculture. And so this is what the Farmer Brown the MC Grow Kit and programming is designed around. Now, our goal, and I'm not going to say modest, I'm very confident that this is something that we can achieve, is reaching 250,000 third through fifth graders over the next 5 years. 250,000 third through fifth graders over the next 5 years. What do we want to do? We want to spend, it equals up to $50 per student. These kits equate to about $40 a kit. This includes the materials. This includes being able to send these video links and then the learning modules. And then the $10, that's for administrative costs or instructional time. So once again, this is a service that we're glad to provide, but we're also glad to provide just instruction and training if you happen to have a group of children that you work with in your respective region. It equates to about $50 per student investment. Over 5 years, this is $12.5 million over 5 years, right? That sounds like a large amount, but just in the past few months, the brother Tariq Nasheed, he did an experiment with crowdfunding to get a museum started. He was able to raise $1 million in 1 month to get a museum started in California. The whole purpose of that exercise was to show, the power of the black dollar in North America, and people around the diaspora that understand the times that we're in. And so with this same concept, we want to have a very specific number, 250,000 third through fifth graders. They haven't been inundated yet with this mainstream narrative that keeps getting pushed on them. Some of the things that we see our favorite artists doing, they don't know about this yet. And so the opportunity we have right now is to introduce to them, hey, there are opportunities in agriculture, not just as producers, but as scientists, as entrepreneurs, as distributors. There's a wide range, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But the concept is we need their first experience with this concept of agriculture to be through the melanated community. What does this equate to? And so per 60 students, maybe you don't have 60 students, maybe you have 10, maybe you have 4. But we've broken this down to where we can be as concise as possible. Per 60 students, this equates to about $3,000. What does this $3,000 entail? So when you're looking at the materials that you see here on the screen, it's about $40 per kit. This includes your peat moss pods, your seeding cups, your clay pot, your buckets, your landscape fabric, and then about $4 for potting mix. And then, like I said, for 6 hours of instruction, this is either you can reach out to us here at B1AG, or if you're a local program director or farmer or instructor yourself, this is about $600. As a melanated people, we got to get out of this habit of wanting people to do things for free. We give a lot of our time and energy to people like the guy that just said, and I'm going to mandate you to get this or else. And so it's really being able to invest in our own. The outcome of this, once again, is a tangible outcome. We want to double the representation of our representation in academics from 1,200 to 2,400 over 5 years. We want to increase the Black primary farm operators from 1.4% at 44,000 to over the next 5 years, at least 175,000. This is over 10 years. These are very practical numbers, and I don't think they're unrealistic, because the truth of the matter is, out of 45 million melanated family in North America, every single one of us eat, whether you're V'd versus unV'd, whether you're woke, whether you're asleep, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you're up, whether you're down, whether you're left, whether you're right, we all have to eat. We see that we're in a environment right now where every single division that we have amongst ourselves, men and women, ratchet versus righteous, every division is being stoked right now. What that tells me, and I got these bright glasses because I see a bright future, is that some faction is desperate. Hey, our patience is up. Somebody's desperate. And so right now, what I can tell you is there's nobody, there's no energy, there's no force on this planet that can stop us from getting on code and really looking out, planning for the next 5 to 10 years. So if we can reach 250,000 3rd through 5th graders now, as they matriculate through school, whether it's virtual or in person, they have a more concise understanding of how important not only agriculture, but the food system is. This kit is a start. This kit was designed with the peat moss pods. It goes over the concepts of planting. Somebody realized walking through a forest that, hey, this stuff that we see on trees called moss, peat moss, if I can condense it, I can help my farmer over here that might have some bad soil where he's at. Or maybe they're in a cold area and need to get their plant started earlier. And so I can enrich this peat moss, put it in little pods, pour water on it, and boom, I have a product that is useful. That is applying ag science. When we think about the seeding cups, right now we're about to, along with all of this agenda you see now with what the president came out Thursday, we're going to start hearing this word carbon tax more. We're going to start hearing this concept of social credit scores more. A lot of this is going to be based around, you used too much gas this week, I'm going to take away points. I saw what you bought with this universal income I gave you. I'm keeping track of what it is that you're buying. And so you bought too much of one thing. So saying that to say, we got to get back Black into the sustainable mindset. So with these seeding cups, this is an opportunity for instructors to just, hey, instead of getting a plastic cup, which is cool, you can use this biodegradable cup to start plants. So I'm going to show you how to plant this in a peat moss pod. I'm going to show you how to do it in a seeding cup and a terracotta clay pot. These are relatively cheap. Okay, here's a cute art activity. Through this art activity, I'm going to show you how to plant something in this clay pot and also stress to you the importance of marketing. Right now, as I sit in front of you with my white shirt and yellow glasses, if I hold up a red square and say yellow M, 100% of people say, oh, you said McDonald's. Why is that? That is because of marketing. If you look at most restaurants and most food vendors or fast food joints, they have certain colors. There is a science behind what makes us buy what it is that we buy. And so when you're doing these art activities, and once again, I'm speaking to the families, I'm speaking to the parents, I'm speaking to the grandparents, the guardians, who's looking for ways to engage your students just in case you don't want to get them jabbed up to go to school, or just in case they are jabbed up and you're still finding yourself at home trying to educate. These 2-gallon buckets. And so a lot of times at B1AG, we get questions about, okay, I live in an apartment. I don't have a farm. I don't have a field to farm on. What can we grow? So with these 2-gallon buckets, this is opportunity for a container garden. There's actually, you can do these in 2-gallon buckets, 5-gallon buckets, or 55-gallon barrels. But once again, seeing is believing. Our concept at B1AG is if we can introduce and plant this seed of the concept using a container. And so there's an actual activity that we have around creating, because within this container, when we think about the crate challenge that was happening a couple of weeks ago, this represents at least a square foot of gardening space. Absolutely. Absolutely. There have been huge studies on how to market to the black man, black woman. We know that they want to show that they're important. We know that we can play on these black folks' psychology to show that we're humans. And so we know they'll pay top dollar. There's been research, and I don't have the time right now to give you the exact name for it, but that is a very real dynamic. And so since we understand that's real, why don't we make it rain on being able to educate, changing the way education happens? A laundry basket. And so within this laundry basket, going along with the container garden concept, you can literally go potatoes, onions, and even some greens and a tomato on top, just in a simple laundry basket. And so when we do these activities, like I said, we can give you the instruction, or we can train the trainer to give this instruction on how to grow in containers. When we're thinking about, okay, a large percentage of us live in condensed areas where we're in apartments, we're in duplexes, we're in townhouses. You can actually produce a lot of food in containers. When we're thinking about all of the land being bought up right now by Gates and your Ted Turners and your Bezos, we got to be resourceful. And we're already endowed with being resourceful just because of the lack of input and support that we've had here on Turtle Island. The landscape fabric, basically that's used to line your containers. And then seeds. And so within these kits, there's a variety of different seeds. You know, to kind of throw it out there, sunflower seeds have 100% work in these activities. The concept is, okay, maybe in this first go round, you don't expect the child to grow a whole field of food, but it's nothing like seeing, okay, I saw my hand put this seed in this soil. I saw my hand, cut up this landscape fabric and line this, and then I see a sprout growing in a couple of days. It's nothing like, when we think about, we got to be repetitive. When we talk about being on code, because what's happened with us, we get so swayed by media, we have short attention spans. Last conversation we had, I asked the question, when last time you heard about George Floyd or Breonna Taylor? Because there's been this onslaught of constant news, constant information, sometimes we forget. Not everybody, but a critical mass of us forget, and then instead of addressing the immediate problem, it's on to the next, on to the next. That's not a sustainable model. What that guy said Thursday about this mandate or else we're getting sick, that wasn't an idea that was concocted a week ago. That is the result of decades. If you get into the Rockefeller Foundation, if you get into the UN 2030 agenda, people think things out for decades. And when I think about the elder Neely Fuller and compensation, the law of compensation is if you come at me with 10, if I want to balance this 10 out, I got to come at you with 11. And so what we're wanting to do in this dynamic is come back with 11 versus this 10 worth of ag ingenuity. And we understand it starts with the kids. It starts with their minds are still impressionable. We see the record labels right now are spending millions of dollars. You see the CGI computer, the computer generated videos with young men sliding down poles. There's to lap dance on Satan. We see this constant promotion of over sexualizing our children, right? Some people's cool with that, but I imagine the majority of the melanated family ain't cool with that. I want my children to learn how to take care of themselves, how to feed themselves, how they please themselves. That can come later. But we're talking about 3rd through 5th graders, teaching them how to grow. Like I said, to stress it, this equates to $12.5 million over 5 years. This is what, $2.5 million a year investment. from the melanated community. Maybe you already have a farm and you're just looking for a way to engage. This is a great thing for you to get into. Maybe you're a teacher. You have this passion for informing these kids, but you really don't want to go back to this building and take a chance of getting alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon. You don't want to deal with these variants, but you still want to do this job of teaching. This is a great way to teach repetition. This is a great way to teach patience. With these phones, there is science that goes behind, there's dopamine rushes. There was an article that came out the other day that we have not only do we have opioid problems in North America and other drug problems, alcoholism, dopamine from these phones. That little like button, and I'm guilty of it. I get crunk every time I see a like when we're having these conversations, right? So saying that to say, how can we incentivize getting our kids to go out and take pictures of themselves, Snapchat, Instagram, I don't know the social media, TikTok themselves growing something as a community. And it doesn't take everybody. It takes the conscientious ones that really want to get these kids inundated. B1AG. We want to get these kids inundated with seeing images of themselves producing, not only just producing music, but producing life. Because if they understand this in 3rd through 5th grade, by the time they go through middle school, by the time they go through high school, they'll have a context of it. Because best believe, okay, we know at least 90,000 people are coming over the ocean right now, refugees, that are each going to get blessed with about $50,000, right? We know in the average hood in North America, our kids ain't about to just get $50,000 from this government that has stole up to 51 trillion over the centuries. And so what is something of equal value we can give our kids? We can make our kids competitive, because I guarantee whether they're coming from Central Asia, Eastern Asia, Western Asia, Europe, Africa, South America, these kids understand agriculture. That is a part of culture. When we talk about our young women over here, I have a daughter. And don't get it twisted. I can appreciate a beautiful woman, right? But when I think about, what are women doing around the world? The North America is the only place where women are the minority farmers. Around the rest of the world, it is culture, it is lifestyle for the women to be engaged in growing, producing. And I'm not going to stress on this too much, because one of the other solutions we have is actually coming up with their own ag enterprise. Once again, we're not in a situation now where we can come for conjecture and pie in the sky ideas. Each of these things we're talking about now, these have been tried. These have been researched on a university level. These have been award-winning research. These have been all experimented. And so it's not like we're just throwing ideas out here. And so the next slide, ag business. When we think about value-added products, right now we see that our food system is severely interrupted. Whether you're talking about shipping coming from other nations, the shipping containers piling up on the ports, or whether you're talking about the largest wholesale food retailers like Cisco not having enough supply to meet the demand. We just did a recent article about the schools are having a shortage of meals for lunch. And so, what did Pac say? Found a weakness in the game and I sold it. Right now, a weakness is the inability to get food from seed to table. And so instead of looking at this as a problem, instead of looking at this as, oh my God, we're in trouble, look at this as the opportunity and the excuse that we've needed. We need a cure for Stockholm syndrome. And what that man did the other day, Thursday, that was a shot that he didn't understand he was given. I'm giving y'all a shot to wake up from this Stockholm syndrome, this dependency on, okay, my system is the only way that works. Even though more of y'all are sick, even though more of y'all are distressed, even though more of y'all are in a situation where, you're food insecure, but I want you to keep buying into my system. And so here at B1AG, we're not here to disparage what side of the aisle you stand on. We're here to talk about the opportunities. And so next, if you could bring up the ag business. And basically with the ag business.
I don't have that slide, bro.
Okay, so I'll go over a few of them. And I'll go slow enough for you to bring it up. With the ag business, a lot of times people think of ag business as just growing food. Man, I'm not on a farm. Man, I'm not into growing food. But I want you to think about the food chain as a whole. What are the things needed within a food system? And so obviously somebody has to grow the food. That means preparing it, cultivating it, And then you also have people that, their whole job is to get it to where it's going. We're in a world where, okay, we realize we're going to have to ship food. And so, the idea of, okay, we're going to keep getting food from over the ocean in a relatively short amount of time, we're going to have to revisit what that looks like. And so some things to think about is the concept value-added products. A chicken nugget is a value-added product. We see people like Jay-Z have invested in value-added product with the nugs. What these are plant-based chicken nuggets. Obviously he's working, I think he invested like $200 million or something like that. He's working on a large scale. But when we think about the sisters and brothers that are investing or, cooking meals within their local communities, how do we empower those local chefs that might not have gotten that chance? We see Biden said, hey, if you ain't got this, then you're not getting no government contracts. And so our thing with this B1AG effort, this 250,000 third through fifth graders, we want to get in the practice of supporting our own efforts. And so when you think about these value-added products, as you see, so jams, jellies, relishes, herbs, and spices, when we think about things that can be grown indoors, so you can grow garlic, you can grow different herbs, rosemary, lavender. These are products that people consume. And so the business part of it will be, now how can I process this? How can I have access to enough of it, or partner with the local farmer who does have a couple acres and actually come up with a business plan? And so what are the things you think about real quick? Who are your potential customers? I want to do this ag business. Who are my potential customers? Okay, I'm in an apartment. I don't have a vast farmland to grow on. So what is it I can sell? Maybe I'm selling something from somebody who's actually growing something. Maybe I'm the distribution between somebody who's growing it to somebody who's wanting to purchase it. How far are they willing to travel? Okay, so we got this business model set up. Am I going to have to ship my product across town? Or are they willing to come to this centralized location? Because me and a couple of homies got together, practiced group economics, and bought some rental space to distribute this product. What do they want and why do they want it? Right now, like I said, our food system as a whole is totally disrupted. And so the question is, what do they want? They want food. Why do they want it? They want it because we need food to survive. And then how much will they buy? And so we know as a melanated family, going back to what the sister said about we're severely impacted by marketing, we tend to spend a lot more money for our food and we get a lot less nutrition out of it. I don't know if the family remembers, a few days ago, we were talking about how 8% of the melanated family lives within the community where there's a grocery store versus 31% of the white population lives within a community or zip code where there's a grocery store. That means a lot more of us aren't close to a grocery store. And so if we get in that Master P mindset, okay, let me bring something to an area where there's something that doesn't exist, which equates to this is a hub where food can be purchased. What price are customers willing to pay? So like I said, we spend top dollars. We buy, $500 shoes. We buy $1,000 bags. We spend ridiculous amounts of money on things to show that, hey, we're just as smart as y'all. We hustle just as smart as y'all. And so what if we can somehow get a critical enough amount of us to take this same energy towards buying food or investing in food products? Who are your competitors? Right now, once again, family, we're competing with Cisco. We're competing with Kroger. We're competing with Sunflower, Publix, Trader Joe's. But guess what? They're not going to go out of their way to come to the melanated community. Matter of fact, a lot of them build their stores based on, I don't want to be nowhere near those people. So once again, here is a niche. Why would these customers choose your products over those of another business? Once again, convenience. Convenience. How convenient is this? Do I want to have to hop on the bus, hop on the train to go all the way across town to get my food? Or was there these brothers and sisters that came up with something like Better Buggy out of Atlanta that was able to distribute this food to me? They could bring it to my door. Maybe if you don't want to go to door, maybe you set up partnerships with your community organizations and you have these central distribution hubs where you can distribute this food from. Other marketing questions you'll ask. So what is the typical marketing season? So what I can tell you, if there's 365 days in a year, there's 365 days that somebody's going to want to eat. Peace, Daxton, peace, fam. There's 365 days that somebody's going to want to eat. Am I saying, oh, only serve food to the melanated family? Absolutely not. You want as many customers as possible. But when we think about these mandates that came down, we see that that is negatively going to affect us. And so our ability to come up with a formidable, codified, it's not no one central space, but we come up with this codified effort to really enrich our food system, and not only enrich those who are already in it, but actually working on rebuilding it, a replacement for us. To that degree, we'll have something that we can sell other people. How familiar are your customers with the product and services you're offering? Once again, we're the masters of marketing. This world, you go to any country around the world right now, they have a form of hip hop. Why do they have a form of hip hop? Because we're the master marketers. I imagine the Olmecs, the Cherokee, the 5 civilized tribes, the tribes from Africa, Nubia, Songhai, they were marketers. They understood, like, hey, when you hop on the Silk Road, you definitely want to come through here to get this ivory, to get this gold. When you're traveling up the Great River, the Mississippi River, down south to the dirty South, you want to get these herbs. You want to get these foods that aren't going to grow where you're at. So we had to market that. Saying that to say that is an ancestral skill that is already in us. And so once again, how do we use social media, right? Because people are getting banned speaking truth. So let us just promote food, promote people who are providing food, promote people who are growing food. How much will it cost to produce the product? So once again, when we're thinking about group economics, our Black farmers, and this is really why we even started this whole B1AG conversation in the first place. Our Black farmers are not going to get any help, family. We can be as pro-Black, pro-melanated. Somebody told me carbonated. We can call it whatever we want, but the melanated farmers are not getting help from this government. They're not going to get help. They will kick, ask the elder brother John Boyd. The can will keep getting kicked down the road. These farmers have been asking for help for decades now. Elders like Shirley Sherrod, they've been asking for help for decades and it still hasn't come. Maybe it will, but I'm of the thought that let's not take no chances. How can we support those already existing farmers? Because it ain't nothing but about 44,000 of them. For the amount of money that went to the Taliban, not the Afghan citizens, there was literally quadruple money sent to the so-called ops than the people part of the farming community, part of this loving farming community, but I'm going to keep 1.4% or 44,000 of them out of the loop. So this is an opportunity for the melanated family to get into investing. How do you invest? And so there are organizations you can look up, like the Federation of Southern Cooperatives, the National Black Farmers Agriculturalist Association. There are companies that you can invest in where you can actually find farmers to support them. Most farmers I know, they're not charity cases. A lot of them, they will suffer in silence. So are we creating pools to where we're investing, to where, okay, each year we know these farmers that, they can pledge X amount of tons of sweet potatoes, X amount of tons of greens. I'm going to make sure through this fund, each of them get $5,000. Each of them get $10,000, depending on the capacity that they have. They shouldn't have to wait 2 and 3 and 4 seasons for debt relief that doesn't come. What are the market regulations and rules? And so, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, family, because I'm excited because we have never had an opportunity like this in proof. 44,000 and still can't get help. There's 90,000 Afghan refugees that are going to get at least what breaks down to 50,000 apiece coming over here, and the farmers that's been here, the legacies that have been neglected, still can't get nothing. The farmers for Pickford and Glickman, it only equated, because you're talking about tens of thousands of farmers were affected by the racism from the USDA and lending agencies, but only equated about 15 to 18,000 that got anything. And a lot of them died off before they got any sort of reciprocation. And this is the type of game that's being played, family. And the point I was making, not to digress too far away with what we were talking about, if I see that anytime I put up a new news story that I'm gonna divert your attention, I'm gonna have y'all worrying about milk crate challenges. I'm gonna have y'all worrying about which social media content creator is beefing with the other. If I see this is all I got to do not to give y'all a bag, or I can give a handful of y'all butter biscuits and you know they'll be Judas goat and lead everybody else totally away from the bag. Cool. I will give one 100,000 to avoid having to give the whole 100 million. Family, we have a huge opportunity right now and all the proof in the world that this is important. Healthyblackfood.com. I have to give a shameless plug. This is something that we're very passionate about. This isn't, look at what we're doing. We're helping. This isn't a, hey, pie in the sky. No, this is a very practical course, healthyblackfood.com at the Black Business School. We're in a time where education is changing. And so my brother and I, John Henry, we put together this class. We've broken down what are the basics of gardening. What are the things when it comes to soil amendment? What are the differences between heirloom, hybrid, and GMO seeds? What are some different type of container gardens that can be implemented on your balcony? How do you till up land? What's the difference between lasagna gardening and tilling, so to speak? And so we go over some of these dynamics and we frame them in a way that we can all understand. I am a proponent of education. I'm not against education. I'm not against educators, but I am against exploitation. And the clock is ticking on us. The talk is clicking. And so we need this information to as much as the family as possible. There are a lot of other brothers and sisters that are putting some great content out on social media. In my personal opinion, they should be going viral. But right now, like I said, we have medicine for this mandate. I don't want to spend too much of my time asking a liar to be honest to me. We see where we're at right now in 2021, in September 2021. Either get this thing that for some odd reason you're apprehensive about, whether it's legit or illegitimate. We now have a servant class, which is supposed to be the government. The government is supposed to serve the people. But now the servant is saying, master being the people, master, my patience is running thin. Put some respect on me, master. Now, how would you feel if your servant said that to you? If you was rich and had a butler and your butler stood up in front of you, my patience is running thin, master. Now you must go drink this juice, master, these Smurf berries. But that says we're in a different world. There are those that, the Constitution, they've thrown that Constitution a long time ago. And as Dr. Claude Anderson was saying a couple of days ago, that in that Constitution that many people are going by, we were 3/5 of a human being. We were livestock. We were property. And so there is a thing of ethics. There is a thing, hey, this would be the right thing to do. But, how much time are we going to waste or waiting on somebody to do the right thing versus taking intentional steps of not only supporting those that are out here, have already been struggling, our Black farmers, our melanated farmers, and how are we going to make sure those that come behind us understand the importance of being able to produce food, understand the importance of innovating these systems. My 2-year-old knows how to navigate an iPad now. And so if I can, my son, he's more of a technician, but my daughter, she navigates it like mom. And so my thing is now, if I can get you to see a value in just food production, I don't expect you to go get a degree tomorrow, but if this becomes a part of your lifestyle over the next few years, it's going to be like second nature. And everything you learn after that, every experience you have after that, you're going to have a code. You're going to have a very specific, intentional goal to achieve. I didn't like that all I had to eat and snack was chips. And so my little young mind is going to think about now, what's a healthy way to enrich my snacks? Disgusting. And we have something that, once again, with the concept of compensation to make up for the lives lost, to make up for all the time gone for the men and women who've been incarcerated, to make up for the divisions in our community between men and women, male and female, to make up for all of the things that we argue about. One thing that we can all agree with is that we all have to eat. And there will never, as long as humans, and what did Dr. Phil Valentine say? Humans have always been. Ever since there was, we were. And I think I misquoted it, but the concept is we'll always be here. Don't let these folks scare you. And a part of being here is we have to feed ourselves. We are in our finest hour right now, and we have solutions. The degree that we can, what did he say? Put some respect on his name. Put some respect on our game. Put some respect on what is in our blood. We have the ability to fix every problem that we face. This mandate, what do they say, 75 days? You can harvest your greens, carrots, cucumbers, some of that 25 to 60 days, even in the winter, even in the fall. We have solutions, family.
We have solutions. All it takes is action. We got to go and just put our intention into action. Intention without action is null and void. So that's why we preach here at B1AG, put those seeds in the ground. That's an action. That's an action. Putting those seeds in the ground. After those seeds go in the ground, you have to water it. You have to nurture it and help it grow. And once it grows and it produces, then it's time for that harvest. And that's where all that hard work and that work that you put in, that's when you get your reward. And that's that harvest, because we all have to eat. Now, I'm talking about literally, but I'm also speaking metaphorically. That's the way the world works. That's the natural universe. That's just the way it is. You put in that, you put your intention into motion, and then put those more action behind that motion, and you will receive your harvest. We all have to eat. It's our God-given right to eat. It's a necessity. If you don't eat, you perish. The way this new economy is getting set up, they are intentionally cutting off our ways to feed ourselves. And that's because we as consumers have gotten programmed into paying for these services. Instead of doing it for ourselves, we pay for it. But we must never forget, you can grow it for yourself. You can do it for yourself. And that knowledge is more important now than ever before. Matter of fact, it's always been just as important. But now that we see how the snake is coming out of the grass, and they're trying to cut off. They're literally trying to starve us out. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, their actions will starve a lot of people out. Think about it. The rent moratorium has ended. That little boost from the unemployment, that's ended. People are in financial despair. How are they going to eat? We all got to eat. It's more important now that we grow our own food. Partner up with our people that we know, communities, your family, get together and put together a real actionable plan to make sure that we are going to be able to eat in these next coming months. Winter is approaching. They call it the cold winter. It's approaching.
Right now, black farmers are gold. No, black farmers are platinum. No, black farmers are diamonds. Diamonds. Find a black farmer to support. If you're on Facebook, go to Sunjoint Hemp Group out of KY, Bread and Butter Farms, Black Outdoorsman LLC, Black Owned Farms, Federation of Southern Cooperatives, Black Ag Entrepreneurs of America, National Black Entrepreneurs of America, National Black Food and Justice Alliance, Black Farmers Nationwide, Black Farmers and Agriculturalists Association, Detroit Black Community Food Security Network. This is on Facebook. If you're on Instagram, and there's many people putting in this work, these are just some of the ones we follow. Black Farmers Network on Instagram, Black Farmers and Homesteads on Instagram, National Black Farmers Association on Instagram. Also on YouTube, Ron Finley Gangster Gardener, Homestead Heart, Lead Farmer 73, Gardening with Goo, Pastor Dow. And obviously, check us out at healthyblackfood.com with the Black Business School. There's a lot of people putting in this work. Leah Penniman, there's a lot of people putting in this work. And right now, can we get on code? Can we get on code and realize that we need to eat, not just today, not just in 2023, but in 2303, because we're going to be here forever. We're going to be here forever. This shell that I'm operating in, it's going to go away. But guess what? It got progeny. It got community. It got, the genes of my ancestors are going to be here. And so, we talk about making some ancestral noise. Let's use these instruments to keep that ancestral energy alive by feeding one another.
Amen to that. Hey, y'all, healthyblackfood.com. Learn how to grow your own food. Also, if you want more information about those grow kits to educate these kids. Now, we're targeting 250,000 third through fifth graders. But know and understand that this information that we're teaching these kids or introducing to these kids, many adults don't know it either. So this is something that the family can do together. This is something that we can all do together, learn together, and grow together. Not only just grow food together, but strengthen those familial bonds. This is something that you can do as a family and take pride in together. Look at our family garden. Look, we're eating what we harvest. We grew and harvested this together. There is pride in that. There is a lot of pride in that. I grew up farming with my grandfather in South Georgia. There's a lot of pride in that. Please believe it. I could say, hey, yeah, me and my granddaddy grew that. When I'm eating a steak or these hamburgers, yeah, I fed that cow. I know what's in that cow. I know there's no artificial ingredients and no steroids and nothing crazy in this cow because I fed it. I know what's in it. Boy, these granny show cooked these greens that my granddaddy grew and me and my grandfather grew. There's pride in that. And not only is there pride in that, I tell you what, it's security. Like I say this and I keep saying it. I never knew what a ramen noodle was until I went to college. Regardless of how much money was in my pocket or how, whether it was a little, a lot, or none, the way I ate, the way my family was able to eat, then it never changed. We ate very rich. We ate very rich. And it did not depend on how much these credits I got on this card or how many dollars I have in my pocket. We have zero money and still eat like a wealthy man. When you grow your own food and produce your own food, and that's powerful. That is powerful, and I want everyone to have that power. We all have the right and the ability to have that power. All we have to do is put the action behind the intention, y'all. It's been a great show. We have a lot. We went through a lot of information today. A lot of information. Please, I encourage you, hit us up at B1AG hiphop at gmail.com. We talked about a lot of stuff. Go back and rewatch this to get the names of these organizations that we and these other content creators, so you can write them down. This is B1AG. We are a conduit of information. Use it as such. Go back, rewatch it, write down these names, research it, Google them, and get this information and put it into action in your life. There's a lot of mandates coming down through the pipeline, but trust and believe that we have some solutions for you. We have medicines for that mandate. And this is doing for self, growing your own food. Because one thing for sure, it's like as long as you're eating, everything else can be handled. If you're not able to eat, It makes it a lot harder for everything else. A lot harder. So, hey, glad y'all tuned in with us today. We're going a little long, we're going on an hour. We appreciate the attention. We hope you got a lot of good information. Again, rewatch it, share, like. Let's grow this conversation. And let's also make sure that we can feed our communities across the nation. Across the nation, we need to be able to connect our communities through these food networks to make sure that we will be able to eat no matter what mandates come down the pipeline, no matter what variants come into the existence, no matter what's going on with our economic situation, no matter what's going on with this economy. Because one thing for sure, we all got to eat. And as long as we all got to eat, that's a way to make money as well. There's nothing on this world, nothing, no drug, no shoe, no clothing, no car that flips harder than food and water. There's nothing on this planet that flips harder than food and water. Because if you don't have food and water, you're going to perish. So let's go ahead and produce our own food. Let's eat, y'all. And I mean that like straight up, let's eat. And I'm also talking about, let's eat up this knowledge and let's get paid too, y'all. Let's eat, let's grow. Let's eat and grow. Eat and grow. Farmer Brown, if you really want to know something, what do people got to do, bro?
Nothing flip harder than food in that water. I'm going to take your line, bro. If you really want to know something, family, this is our finest hour. Let's learn how to grow something.
Thank y'all for tuning in. John Henry Harris, Farmer Brown EMC. Have a blessed day. It's the weekend. Soak up that sun. Get some rest. If you got to work, I hope your day goes by quickly and you can get back home to your loved ones. Love on your loved ones. Pour into your loved ones. Make sure that your loved ones grow and reap that harvest as well. We're not just talking about plants growing. We're talking about growing your people physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Let's grow. Keep it growing. And until next time, B1AG, we are out.